Greetings, my friends, and how are you? It's great to have you with us. Rush Limbaugh on Hump Day. That doesn't mean as much anymore. Not as many people working, so not as many people worried about getting over the hump during the work week. But nevertheless, traditionally it's Hump Day. We're happy to be here on Hump Day as the NFL tries to figure out what happened to the New England Patriots' balls. It's amazing. It is. And folks, I have to tell you something. By the way, telephone number, if you want to be on the program, 800-282-2882. If you want to send an email, it's lrushbaugh@eibnet.com. I never thought, I thought I might get close to it. I never thought the day would come where I did what I did last night. I did not watch. I did not turn it on. I didn't have the State of the Union on with the sound down. I didn't have a channel on where you could see the State of the Union. I today am a proud member of the low information crowd because I know now, but I didn't watch it. And don't get worried now, folks, because I know some of you are probably thinking, some of you lifers, as I've said over the course of the many years of the busy broadcast, people have said, how long are you going to do this, Rush? And last 5 years, people said, well, you get nothing else to prove. Why do you keep doing this? Well, A, I love it. B, it's what I do. C, unfinished mission and all that. But I have always said over the course of the years that I'll know when it's time to hang up the microphone. And that'll be the day when I get up and don't care what's in the news. Well, fear not, that day has not happened by a long shot, and I can't, frankly, ever imagine it happening. But stop and think of something for a second here. Stop and think. The television ratings for the State of the Union address have been plummeting in this country, and precipitously over the past 4 years. Now, stop and think of that for a second. Stop and think how far Barack Hussein O has actually fallen as measured by how many people really have no interest in listening to what he has to say. Of all people, a man who arrives on the scene in 2008 as unique, unlike anyone who's ever been in politics, soaring speeches, rhetoric and speeches that cause people to be glued to their TV sets. No matter where he went, he was hailed as a great orator, and he was said to captivate people and hold a crowd and have them mesmerized in the palm of his hand. Now look at how far Obama has actually fallen. Just in that measure alone, how many people have no interest in listening to what he has to say? And that was it for me. I literally had no interest because I knew what was going to be said. And more than that, I knew how it was going to be said. I knew that I was going to be insulted. I knew the things I believe in are going to be insulted with a gloating air about it. And I just didn't want to put up with it. I've got enough other things going on in life right now that they're far more deserving of my attention than that. Particularly when I knew there wasn't going to be any real news in this thing last night. There wasn't going to be anything unexpected. There wasn't going to be anything brand new. There wasn't going to be anything really meaningful as far as that concerned, other than continued obfuscation. May I illustrate? I have here my formerly nicotine-stained fingers, a little blurb from our buddies at Newsbusters. This is Brent Bozell's site, which monitors the drive-by media and reports on media bias. The headline, Chuck Todd on NBC Nightly News. Obama got the post-election honeymoon, not the Republicans. Now, folks, that's flat out absurd. That's just flat out ridiculous. Now, here's the story. While previewing Obama's State of the Union address on Tuesday night, NBC Nightly News had on Meet the Press moderator F. Chuck Todd, who told viewers that the president will set out to do a little victory lap about the state of the economy and opined how Obama got the post-election honeymoon, not the Republicans, thanks to his moves on illegal immigration in Cuba. The Democrat Party just got shellacked in the midterm elections, and the midterm elections are real. The results in the midterm elections are real. Half of the senators who voted for Obamacare are gone, one way or the other. The Democrat Party is near the bottom of the barrel in terms of the last two midterm elections and the number of seats they lost. And yet, because of image and a poll which shows the economy way up. Why do you think that poll exists? That's the gasoline price. And Obama had nothing to do with the gasoline price coming down. I understand he's going to try to take credit for it, but that's the kind of stuff I didn't want to watch last night. That's the kind of stuff. I don't want to have my intelligence insulted. I don't want to have to listen to people rave and go on and on and on. Obama rave about how he's done this and done that for the economy when all he's done is damage it. In the real world, the policies of Barack Obama have damaged the economy, have damaged this country in any way, shape, manner, or form. And here's Chuck Todd, the post-election honeymoon with who? The media, of which there is no media, by the way. Don't worry, I haven't changed my mind on that. That's just what we call them, but they're not media. Democrat Party press corps, whatever you want to call them, they're not media. So F. Chuck Todd says that the president, little victory lap about the state of the economy. He's the one who got the post-election honeymoon, not the Republicans. And so an alternative universe is being created here that I frankly have no desire to get sucked into or lulled into. I don't even want to have to listen to it. This is just an illustration, an excellent illustration of how this stuff all works. I don't care what the Republicans do with it. Don't misunderstand. They could blow it sky high, but the Republicans won the election. There is no honeymoon for Obama here. You can cite approval numbers all you want. You can cite people leaking up because of the economy and the gas price coming down all you want. Doesn't change the way they voted. It doesn't change the reason they voted the way they voted. They voted the way they voted. The results are the results, and the Republicans run the Senate, Republicans run the House, and Obama doesn't have a prayer of getting one thing in his agenda passed by law. With him may not matter. So all this honeymoon stuff, this is just more BS. It's more cockamamie BS. These little sycophants in the drive-by media sit around, toot their own horns, and create this alternative universe where Obama is king of the world and everything is coming up roses. And my God, it's the best it's ever been. The country's the best it's ever been. And Obama made it happen and the people know it. None of that's true. And I didn't want to sit through an hour and a half of the illusion. Pure and simple. But I'll tell you what I did. I said, Cookie, she asked me what I wanted. She has sound bites. Do you want the usual way we do this? Do you want sound bites of Obama with his policy? I said, no. I want the lies. And I'll leave it up to you to figure them out. It's an employee in good standing. She knows when Obama's lying or telling the truth. Or I want outrageous, funny things. But I don't want the usual soundbite list. And here's what Obama said about the economy. And here's what Obama said about his proposal for free junior. None of that. That's falling prey to the trap. That's falling prey to the script of the soap opera. So let me just read to you the little headlines that accompany every soundbite she gave me. I haven't decided if I'm going to use them, but this is what I've got. Obama on oil prices then and now. Let's use these two, right? This is going to make my point. This is going to really make my point. Let's go back. The first one is this soundbite number 2, Mike. This is June 15th of 2010. Now, I quoted him yesterday on this, but here is Obama actually saying it. This is after the BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. It's Obama in the Oval Orifice.
For decades, we have known the days of cheap and easily accessible oil were numbered.
All right. Now, that's 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago. And Obama's admitting, hey, been there, done that, folks. If you like cheap gasoline, sorry, not happening. We have known for decades the days of cheap and easily accessible oil were numbered. So that was it. From that day forward, oil going to be priced sky high, and that's why he said that. Why? To move on global warming, to move on alternative energy, to buck up what he was doing with solar and wind and all those other losing things. Okay, let's listen to last night. This is an illustration exactly why I didn't want to put up with this last night. We just heard him say 4.5 years ago that the days of cheap and easily accessible oil were over But last night,
we believed we could reduce our dependence on foreign oil and protect our planet. And today, America is #1 in oil and gas. Thanks to lower gas prices and higher fuel standards, the typical family this year should save about $750 at the pump.
Right. He's the last guy in the room to know about it. He's probably the most surprised guy in the room. This is not exactly what he intended. He didn't want the gas price coming down. He didn't want easily affordable fossil fuel energy because that would stand in the way of whatever he wanted to do with climate change and a carbon tax and moving on to solar and wind. So for decades, we've known the days of cheap and easily accessible oil were numbered. 4.5 years ago, last night, we believed we could reduce our dependence on foreign oil and protect our... No, you didn't. You stood in the way of that. You stood in the way of decreasing our independence on foreign sources with the Keystone Pipeline and all that. Today, America's #1 in oil and gas. Not because of anything you've done. It's called fracking, which you and your buddies on the left steadfastly oppose. But presidents get to do this. I understand that. I just didn't want to watch it. I just didn't want to sit through an hour and a half of having my intelligence insulted and all this obfuscation and all this phony credit taking and so forth. I did hear about this. Grab soundbite #1. I did hear about this, and I think this is quite instructive, too.
That's how we start rebuilding trust. That's how we move this country forward. That's what the American people want. And that's what they deserve. I have no more campaigns to run. My only agenda, I know because I won both of them.
Now, what happened there? Here's what happened. Obama's going on and on and on, and he's in his own mind, and everybody else telling how great he is, and how wonderful he is. And he's going to great, how great he's been for America, and oh man, it's just so great. And now he's moving on into that great Oval Office into beyond, because he's not going to be able to run again. And for the first time, I would imagine, well, maybe not the first, but the Republicans applauded. And that ticks him off, because they've been sitting on their hands all night. They didn't applaud anything he'd said, because why? It's all a bunch of crap. So when he mentions that he can't run for office again, there's not going to be any more campaigning, they finally applaud. And that just, this little petulant guy, no, you don't treat him that way. So he has to throw this, yeah, I know. I won both of them. Anyway, folks, there was nothing new. It was as predictable as anything in politics is. I did say that he was a con man. I said that yesterday. That hasn't changed. Why? Something. Oh, Snerdley's telling me that the whole thing last night was just a big con. Well, of course it is. Here you have a guy who hasn't, in terms of policy, there hasn't been anything to generate any economic boom, and yet the gas price plunge is enough to do it. I mean, the percentage decrease in the price of gasoline and what that means for people's disposable income, that alone is enough to boost an economy. And there he is, having had nothing to do with it. In fact, if he'd had his way, the oil price would not have come down. Don't doubt me on this. Anyway, he gets to take credit for it, fine and dandy, but that's part of the con as well. Anyway, here are more of the headlines of what Cookie prepared for me. Obama lies on the economy, best since 1999. Obama's lie on the war on terrorism, it's over. Obama lies on ISIS, we're stopping them. Obama's lie on a minimum wage, Republicans want you to live on $15,000 a year. Obama's lie on community college, that it will cost nothing. Obama's lie on climate change, that it threatens our national security. Obama's lie on Gitmo, I will close it. Obama's lie on race, tying Selma with Ferguson and New York City. And those are the sound bites. I asked her, give me the things he lied about. And so that's what I got. I don't know if I'm going to use them. I mean, why would I use them? I didn't want to watch them last night. And why would I subject you to it today? You know. Well, maybe for some of it, for laughs. I'll just have to see how it all plays out. But this This is classic. And by the way, the minute the Republicans applauded when he said that that was it for him and he couldn't run any more campaigns, you know, and the Republicans do that as a joke. You see the real Obama there. He gets ticked off. How dare you insult me, affronting me like that. You know, that was very typical. But this Chuck Todd thing, Obama got the post-election honeymoon, not the Republicans. I don't care what they want to do. I don't care how they want to write about it. I don't care how F. Chuck wants to talk about it on television. Nothing is going to change the simple reality that the Democrats got their clocks cleaned in the November elections. And if they want to lie to themselves and tell them that they're in this great honeymoon period and that somehow this sets up Hillary or Elizabeth Warren, let them lie to themselves. But that is a theme that the media running around. My God, look at the Democrats lost, but look at Obama. He's the big winner. Why, you would think that... No, you wouldn't think, because it didn't happen. Obama was rejected as profoundly as a president can be at the polls, other than losing his own election. And they can write, say, broadcast whatever they want, try to change people's opinions about that, but they can't change the reality of it. Let's take a brief time out, because I have to. I just saw the clock. Wow. Hi, welcome back, my friends. Great to have you. This is Rush Limbaugh. This, the most listened to radio talk show in America. The most listened to host and the most talked about host and the most talked about show. Okay, so I didn't watch, but that doesn't mean I didn't prep it, folks. I have not abandoned my responsibilities. I literally didn't want to watch it. There are other things going on, and frankly, a couple of them were far more important than this last night, particularly when I was going to have plenty of time afterwards to read about it, look up whatever I wanted to look up, and confirm what I thought was going to be the case. Now, as we sit here today, Obama's current approval rating is at 46, 48%, depending on the poll you look at. F. Chuck Todd says Obama is in a big, big honeymoon. Man, it was such a great victory of this election, and the Republicans won, but man, it's Obama that's basking in the glory, right? Okay, so what happened? We have a State of the Union last night, 6 years. You want some reality? Here's some reality. 6 years of Barack Obama policies. And the president goes out in a State of the Union show and claims the middle class is desperate for help. Honeymoon? Somebody want to explain how this works to me? We got a guy who's been in office 6 years. He cares about the little guy. He's been plastering the rich, they think. Rich are getting richer under Obama, by the way. But the little guy thinks Obama's out there looking out for him, getting free this and free that. And 6 years into his 8-year presidency, the president does a State of the Union speech making the case the middle class is desperate for help. Why is the middle class desperate for help? 6 years into this guy's presidency. Why hasn't he dealt with it prior to now? If his presidency's so cool, if his presidency's such a success, why does the middle class need any help, much less desperate help? Somebody explain that to me. Grab soundbite 28. I got F. Chuck Todd here. People will hear it in just a second here. But I think, folks, it's a confession. When the president of the United States goes out there 6 years into his 8-year presidency and starts talking about all the help the middle class needs, the desperate help the middle class needs, which means what? Tax increases on the rich. Like, that's really going to help the middle class. But I don't think that's, I think it's a confession. I think it's the president admitting he's had a failed presidency. I mean, as the mayor of Realville. Now, I know that's not the spin, and I know that's not the atmospherics. And I know that's not the bubble in which the drive-bys reported all this, but clearly 6 years in, and the president says the middle class is desperate. It's like Jimmy Carter, 3 years in, trying to make the claim that we've got to do something for our hostages being held in Iran. It's an admission of impotence. It's a confession that his administration has blown it for the middle class. And 6 years in, the president got really testy and reminded Congress that he was reelected. We know that. He's standing up there as president of the United States, and he has to sit there and tell everybody, oh, no, I want them both. We know that. What was the little boy petulance there having to tell everybody, yeah, I want them both. I want them both. Yep. I really think that what animates Obama more than anything right now, other than advancing his agenda, is irritating Republicans. I really think that he loves just stoking them and trying to irritate them. But I tell you, we got 6 years in, and a president who has shut out and shut down Republicans at every turn, promising multiple vetoes, at the same time promising that he's got a sincere desire to work with them. We had that last night, too. We had here over and over and over again how no Republicans helped, and they didn't help this, and they didn't help that, and I had to do it all on my own, and blah, blah. And he promises more vetoes after that if the Republicans don't come along and see it his way, all while claiming he has a sincere desire to work with them. And then there was this. He said the verdict is clear. Middle class economics works. Expanding opportunity works. And these policies will continue to work as long as politics don't get in the way. What verdict is in? That more Americans are out of work than ever before? That food stamp usage is at record levels year after year? That the deficit, the national debt, is $8 trillion higher than it was when Obama took office? That careers have been sacrificed for part-time jobs because of Obamacare? What verdict is clear? What middle-class economics is working? Middle-class economics is not working 6 years in, and he has to go out and say that the middle class is desperate, in need of desperate help, or desperate in need of help. I mean, this place, as I read about it, I didn't watch it, as I say, but as I read about it, it seemed to be as contradictory as anything could be. The verdict is clear. Middle-class economics works. Expanding opportunity works. And these policies will continue. They're phantom policies. He hasn't had any policies that expand opportunity. Anyway, you know the drill on that. I mean, here's the verdict from study after study on middle class over the past decade. Middle class share of national income has fallen. Middle class wages are stagnant. The middle class in the U.S. is no longer the world's wealthiest middle class. And this was the story. This past fall, the plight of the middle class was the story. What has happened to the American middle class? If you don't remember, let me remind you. During the campaign from September all the way to November, one of the campaign items that was rearing its head was, what's happened to the American middle class? Oh, it's vanished. It's all, and the Democrats were the ones running around saying so as part of their campaign. You know, the rich are getting richer, the rich don't care, the rich have no hearts, the rich have no compassion, the rich are stealing everything, there's no such thing as trickle down, the rich aren't sharing the wealth, the rich aren't giving people any money, and stealing it from the middle class. And the Democrats are running around wailing and moaning and whining that the middle class was gone because the rich had just taken everything. This was just a few months ago. And now with the one thing, the plummeting gas price, which happened despite Barack Obama, not because of Barack Obama, the public is understandably feeling much better economically. They've got more money. They have significantly more disposable income because so much less is required for gasoline and utility bills and the like, but primarily gasoline. It's huge, this difference. That one event, that one economic fact, has now provided an opportunity for Obama and his spinmeisters to totally erase everything the Democrat Party was preaching as gospel months ago. Because months ago, the Democrats are running around complaining. Middle-class share of national income's fallen. Middle-class wages are stagnant. Middle-class in the U.S. no longer the world's wealthiest. They're blaming all that on the Republicans. And now, after an election, which Obama is in a honeymoon period on, where the Democrats got shellacked, he says the verdict is clear. Middle-class economics works. Expanding opportunity works. And the fact is, more Americans are out of work than ever. The food stamp usage is record highs, and it goes on year after year. The deficit's $8 trillion, the national debt $8 trillion higher. More people working part-time than ever before, because businesses have to do that in order to be compliant with Obamacare. Here's Chuck Todd in his own words. This is last night, NBC Nightly News. Brian Williams speaking to Chuck Todd, and Brian Williams said, okay, now to the mood of the electorate, F. Chuck, who, after all, make up tonight's TV audience. Chuck, what are the numbers going into tonight?
Look at this number. 45% say they're satisfied with the state of the U.S. economy today. That is the highest satisfaction number we've recorded in over a decade. That, of course, is something we do expect the president to do tonight, which will do a little bit of a victory lap about the state of the economy. Also, it appears he's got a little bit of he got the post-election honeymoon, not the Republicans.
This is unbelievable. No, it's not. It's totally believable. Obama and the Democrats were humiliated. It was an overwhelming loss. And they want to raise the flag and start throwing a party. Over 45% say they're satisfied with the economy. My, how our standards have plummeted. My, how our standards have declined. Anyway, that's my take on this, folks. This was all predictable before it happened. Knew it was going to happen. Knew the media take on it was going to be, I mean, not word for word, but I'm talking about attitudinally. And I shudder to think what my mood would be today had I actually watched this last night and come here and talk about it, rather than having informed myself after the fact. Essentially what we got last night, if you want to boil this down, Obama proposed the federal centralization of practically everything. Healthcare, education, wages, trade, communications. He wants the federal government running everything. And that's obviously true.